Hey, so good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Palm Desert. We have a little change of pace this Sunday. Unprecedented times call for unprecedented actions. And so we're here doing something totally different, totally out of the box that we've never done before, which is to create a Sunday service without having anyone in the room. So this is a first for us. I hope you enjoy the service. Charles and I have been working together, and we were talking about this is a time to be overly cautious, right?
Overly cautious and responsible and aware, because we want to take care of each other. We want to take care of ourselves. We want to take care of the community as well. And so Dr. Joe and I, as humble leaders of the community, have had some hard conversations along with some other leaders and have come to this conclusion that we need to be doing this.
Yeah, this is best for right now. And it's not forever. It's fluid. So this is just for this week. There's going to be an e-blast announcement about how we have to adjust our services and cancel some of them or put them online or on Zoom conference calls. But all of that will be delineated in another email.
That's right.
Right now, we're here to have our Sunday celebration. So right now, I want Reverend Charles to take us through meditation, to allow ourselves to go into a space where we just exhale and rid ourselves of all the things that are happening on the outside and just kind of focus on his words. And Jerry Lynn's going to be kind enough to play the piano underneath him and just create an atmosphere. So try to shut everything else down around you, and let's just go on a journey with Charles.
So let's take a deep breath, and if you're comfortable in your space, wherever you are, hopefully you're in a nice, cozy location, and just close your eyes. And even though we aren't physically together, in the spiritual realm, we're always family. And so we can imagine being together as well. And this will be a collective, although it's an individual time, a collective time of spiritual practice as well. So I invite you to take a deep breath. And another deep breath. And one more. And in this inward journey, let's begin in our thinking center, our brain. And just bring our attention into this moment. And understand one of the greatest gifts we have is the capacity to control our thinking. So I invite each of us to center it now, to bring your attention to wholeness. And that is, if we can elevate ourselves in our thinking beyond the current conditions of the world, we can control what we think about it and how we relate to it. And I invite us each right now to come into an awareness that we are whole now, always have been, and always will be. And only the nightmare of separation can take us out of that. So let's be in the comfort of our connection, of our wholeness, with directed intention, attention, and commitment. As it's been said so many times, whole, complete, and perfect already. I invite you to take a breath into that. And then drop that awareness of wholeness into your heart space. And if it's helpful, even put your hand on your heart. To bring that awareness of wholeness, that idea of wholeness, that idea of health and perfection of being, is alive here in our energy center, our heart, the healing center of our body. The love center. And one of the greatest mechanisms of circulation is what our heart does inside of our body with our bloodstream. And how it works so efficiently and so hard on our behalf. And imagine with me for a moment that with every pump of your heart, that a healing salve, a healing energy, a healing balm is being released throughout your entire body temple. That with each pump, feel it, with each thud, with each beat, a rhythm of health is being established in your body. A rhythm of wholeness and harmony. Feel into that. For a moment in the silence, let's simply be in that space of healing circulation, healing harmony together. Let's take another breath together. That's where we live. In that sacred pattern of perfection. Dropping our head, this control center, into this heart center. And bless our bodies with health. Bless our mind, our brain with right thinking. With a right relationship with life. To be in flow and in alignment. And allow the fire that is love. The fire that is healing. To become a conflagration that burns away everything unlike it. Fear be gone. Anxiety be gone. Doubt gone. What's left? A beautiful fire of love. I bless us each in this truth. And I do know that all is well. And we're in right relationship with that wellness, with that wholeness, and with God's divine bounty of magnificence. I'm grateful for this time that we've shared together. I call it good, and so it is. Amen.
So, I get to do this talk every once in a while, and normally I do it on Father's Day in honor of my father, but I figured this is an unprecedented time, and we are all getting... Okay. Okay, so we need to keep that in the video. So we're taping this in front of the staff, and right then I said that about the talk, the thunder just shook the building. So obviously I meant to do this. I've got God bumps all over. So historically, I always do a talk called Taking Flight. And it talks about the time when I used to start out when I was young as a flight attendant. So I put my flight attendant uniform on because when a flight attendant does the demo on an airplane, it's an opportunity for us to kind of reflect on a metaphysical basis, not just what they're talking about in the plane, but how we deal with our own lives. So the title of my talk is Taking Flight. So the first thing we do whenever you're on an airplane, and let me get my slides up here, Taking Flight. Here we go. So there's a picture of me. I'll start out with that little picture. I'm 20 years old in this picture. Look, I've got hair. Can you imagine? I've got hair and I'm thin. Wow, those were the days. So that was actually the first day I graduated from flight attendant training when I was 20 years old. It's a job that I always wanted to do. And one of the reasons I always wanted to do it is because I wanted to be like these guys, see? These PSA glamour girls, you know? I always thought I used to have my mother take me to the airport on Sunday mornings or on weekends. And I'd say, Mom, let's go look at airplanes. And we would watch these airplanes and we'd watch the crews get on and off the airplane. And I said, Mom, someday I want to do that. Of course, she thought I was looking to be a pilot. And she says, you want to be a pilot? And I says, no, I want to be one of these because they're glamorous and they're fabulous. And I want to wear the white boots and the pink boots and have the luggage. But anyway, so I never got to do that. But I got to do at least the flight attendant job. One thing about metaphysically speaking, my mom has always taught me, I was born and raised in Unity. My mother always taught me that whatever you visualize, you can demonstrate. And from a very early age, I always saw myself doing the job as a flight attendant. I don't know why. I was totally taken with it my entire years growing up. But once I was able to get to that age, the universe unfolded in such a way that as soon as I could be in training, literally 19 years old, you had to be 20 to become a flight attendant. I was in training when I was 19 and turned 20 while I was there. So I was actually a really young flight attendant at the first available opportunity. So the universe set forth a path for me to demonstrate the thing I'd been dreaming about my whole life. And so this was actually a dream of mine. So I want to share some of the things that happen when we go to the airport. So the first thing you have to do in life is make a plan. And right now, I know we're living in some uncertain times, and there's a lot of fear going on. But just like buying a ticket to get on a plane to take a journey, you and I get to decide how we want to pick the destination that we're going to end up with over the next few weeks. It's very easy to buy a ticket to fear right now. The ticket to fear is really popular. All you have to do is turn on anything from social media or any TV report, and you're going to be fear-filled. And so we have to make a decision to buy a different ticket. And I want that ticket to take us, I love my ticket says priority access, because that's what I believe we all have. We have priority access, and of course, you know me, I'm kind of like that. I like to ride in business class. So I want to know that we have first class priority access to whatever we want to experience in this life and during these uncertain times. We can sign up for or buy a ticket to experience more fear or to experience dis-ease. But I'm choosing, and I hope you do the same, to realize that there's a different ticket that we can purchase. So the first thing we always do is we visualize, and that's what I call my ticket purchase. You wouldn't go to the airport without a destination, so I don't want you to go through your life without having destinations in mind. Next thing, the first thing you do after you buy your ticket, you show up and you have to go through security. You have to strip down and take your shoes off, and you got to take your stuff out of your suitcase, and you got to let them examine you. You're x-rayed, right? And you have to be examined in the machines. And I think that part of that could be metaphysically interpreted as saying, you know what? I need to examine my consciousness right now as I get ready to take this journey. Do I have a lot of carry-on baggage? Do I have a lot of things I need to get rid of? How big is your carry-on? I've seen some of your carry-on baggage come into this center, and some of you have a lot of it. If I was a flight attendant, I'd say you need to check that bag. It's far too big. But you get to decide how much of your baggage you want to bring forward. It's really easy to align ourselves with the past and the baggage of the past, and especially when you see the stock market tumble or you see those things happen, we have a trigger that suddenly we go to old baggage, and we're carrying that with us. Carrying old carry-on baggage is like trying to walk around literally with the old baggage attached to one of our legs, and it just slows us down. So at this time in the service, at this time in your life, I want you to visualize putting your carry-on luggage in an overhead bin or underneath the seat and just forget it. Pretend that you walked off the plane and you totally forgot it. So nothing from the past is coming forward. So the first thing I want you to do is examine your carry-on. Now, there are things in your carry-on that you're going to want to keep. So you know how you get to take two, one in the overhead bin, one underneath the seat? I do want you to keep a little bit of something. And that something is the faith and the demonstrations that you've had experienced in your life up till now. Because when you have that faith and you have those demonstrations, you can lean back on this experience that we're having right now and go, I know I'm going to travel through this because I've traveled through similar circumstances before and I've made it onto the plane. I made it to my journey. All right? Next thing, once you get there, one of my favorite things to do was the flight attendant demo. I just love doing the flight attendant demo. It was my favorite thing. As a kid, I'm like, I just want to be up front and do that. Imagine that. So the first thing we do is we say, your seats are equipped with a metal-to-metal seatbelt. To fasten, insert the metal into the buckle till you hear it click, pull on the strap for a tight fit. To unfasten, lift up on the metal plate, pull the end out. Now, everybody knows this. If you've ever been in a car, you know how to fasten your seatbelt, you know how to get out. But here's the thing. We're going on a journey. Really interesting journey right now. Some would say disturbing, unsettling, fear-filled. So the first thing you want to do is you want to buckle up your faith. You want to buckle it up, and what do they say? Keep it low and tight and keep it constantly fastened even when we're at cruise altitude, because you never know when you're going to hit some unexpected turbulence, right? So first things first, buckle in your faith. Tighten it up and just get ready for the ride. You know, I know a lot of people have anxiety about air travel, and I've never been one of those. I've always thought it was kind of like a roller coaster ride. So whenever I'd put my seatbelt on, I'm like, man, this is going to be fun. I know we're taking off. And I know when the jets start going and you get thrown back into your seat, there's this sense of excitement that, oh man, I'm really going. This is really cool. And now I know that I'm okay because I've got this thing low and tight. I'm secure. I'm fastened in. So in these uncertain times, I want you to fasten in on your own faith. I want you to lock it down, and then if someone needs help, help them lock theirs in too. Lock yourself in first and help somebody else. Next thing, here we go. The cabin is pressurized for your comfort. In the unlikely event of a cabin depressurization, an oxygen mask will fall in the unit above you. Simply reach down, pull the mask down, pull it over your mouth and nose and breathe normally. Please continue to do so until advised by a uniformed crew member. Parents traveling with small children or adults that act like small children, put your mask on first, then assist others. All right? This is cool. Guess what? You don't know this, but concealed in your life, in a compartment, everywhere, is a life force that can change your life in case of an emergency. And when something happens, it will just appear. And that life force, that God force, that healing force is appearing in our life. What we have to do is reach up, pull it down. It doesn't say it's going to automatically affix to our face. We have to take some sort of action. It appears, but I have to do something to actually make it work. Just like the universe, just like the healings that are occurring. They happen, but we have to be proactive, which is exactly why we're doing services this way. What we decided was the universe was saying, look, we don't want people to be exposed, but we want them to still get the service. We want them to still get the message. So what can we do? We're going to do something different, and then they can allow that life force to come into their life. Now, it says, parents traveling with small children, secure your mask first, then offer assistance. Just like this mask. You know, we're talking about washing our hands and keeping ourselves health conscious and proper protocols and safety. You know, the CDC is talking about those. That's actually what we're talking about here. Take care of yourself first and then offer help to other people. But you have to take care of your health first right now. We have to take care of our mental health and our physical health. So the first thing we do is we take care of ourselves and then we're able to help others. In the seat back pocket, you'll find a card giving this and other information about the location and operation of our 8 emergency exits. Pointed out for you, they are the forward entry door in which you came in, opposite that forward service door, 2 exits over the wing each side, and an exit door back right and left. And my favorite one was always the rear air stair, but I could never do that. So, safety card. You have been filled with spiritual tools to allow yourself to make whatever necessary moves you need to make to keep your life moving and afloat. But you have to take the action. You know, the card is sitting in front of you. That information doesn't come by osmosis. You actually have to take it out and read it and try to understand it. And ask questions. If you have a question, ask a flight attendant. They'll help you. If you have questions about what's on this card, you ask. When you have questions, you ask a practitioner, you ask a minister. But inside the seat back part of you is a card. It gives you this information, and then it shows you the exits, and we point them out for you. Keeping in mind that the nearest usable exit may be behind you. Why do they say that? Why do they say that? Because here's a statistic for you. When I did a lot of safety things when I was working for the flight attendants, we found that in cases of accidents, people all clamored to go out the door they came in when a usable exit was one row behind them. And people actually perished because they were trying to go out the way they came in, but they didn't make it in time. But had they just turned around and used the row behind them, they would have been okay. What this means on a metaphysical basis to me is you can't always do the same thing you've always done. You may have to change things around a little bit. And I think now more than ever, it requires us to be more flexible, the way we interact with one another at a grocery store, or they call it social distancing, whatever that is. We have to make sure that we are doing something different, because we will survive if we take different actions. If we continue to do the same thing, we may have some challenges before us. So we don't have to face those. And all the information that you need to survive is here, right here, because you've been teaching or learning it and absorbing it every Sunday, or through our classes, or through our online social media. It's everywhere. You just have to actually reach out, take it, and learn it for yourself. All right, next thing. Every aircraft, it has escape path lighting. And then the flight attendant does this like they're vacuuming. They sweep the floor. White lights lead to red lights. Red lights indicate an exit. You know why those are there? Because in cases of emergency, the cabin will fill with smoke. If there's a fire, the cabin will fill with smoke. And you won't be able to see around you. The smoke is so dense you won't be able to see. But just like you're taught as a child, if there's a fire, get down low. And if you get down low, in other words, you go within, you will find a strip of lighting leading you right to your exit. But if you try to find it when you're up here inhaling the panic and inhaling the fear, you'll never find it. Go low, go within, follow it, and it will lead you to an exit. Don't get taken up by the smoke. All right? It's so weird doing a talk and not having anybody in the room. Or I have a couple people, but not having you all there. I have a picture of a galley. And one of the reasons I have that there is you'll see the flight attendant jump seat. And when I was a flight attendant, whenever you take off, I know you think we sat up there and just thought about doing our nails, but we really didn't. We think about things like, what happens if the plane comes to immediate stop? What happens if the captain says, brace, brace, heads down, stay down? What are my commands at a usable exit? What way does the door rotate? How do I get out? What do I do once I get out? How do I assign passengers to do things? The same thing happens in our life. You're riding your life on a jump seat, and many times we have to look at how is the universe and how am I going to do the next logical and sequential thing in front of me? And I have to plan it out in my head and actually plant the seed for that to be executed. And it goes to memory. Same thing happens here. In what we're living through right now, we need to make a plan like we're doing at the center. Perfect example. We decided not to have Sunday services, and we decided not to have classes and to do them in a different way. And people are asking, how long? I'm like, I don't know. We're going to have this day, and tomorrow we'll approach it the next day, and we'll approach it the next day. We don't have to know all the answers at once. I just need the answers for today. And for today, these are my answers. And so I want you to think about your financial health, your relationship. I want you to think about your creativity and your finances. I want you to think about that and say, what is before me today? And what can I do something about? And do I have the mental and spiritual capability to just back up a little bit and remove myself from the fear and execute a plan to create an exit? That's what I want us to think about when we see that little galley position there. Next slide, crash acts. You probably don't know this, but behind every captain's seat, or first officer seat, I forget which one, but up in the cockpit is a crash axe. And the crash axe, it's not for hijackers, the crash axe is actually to make an exit where one doesn't exist. That if you were ever caught in a situation, you could take that and actually create an exit where one does not exist in the moment. The crash axe for me is like prayer. And I have to pray. I have to create an exit, create something new, where right now it may not seem apparent to me, may not seem obvious, but I know that something exists there, and I can help create that. So I get my crash axe, and I use that to create a new exit. Prayer is like my crash axe. It gets me out of bondage and into something new and exciting. All right? Hope you guys are getting some of this. Last but not least, patience. When you go to the airport, you really have to exercise patience. You're waiting in line in security, you're waiting in line to get on the plane, you're waiting in line for your bags, you're waiting in line for a cab, whatever that is, you have to exercise patience. And now more than ever, I think we need to exercise patience and not panic. It's very easy to get upset when you're in a line like that. I know, because I get upset when I'm in a line like that, when it's not moving fast enough, or the person in front of me is taking far too long, and I make judgment calls about what they're going through. So I want us to have more patience than panic. I want us to realize that, yes, we're in a situation that's unprecedented. It's very different. It's very unsettling and can be very awkward. But it's also a time to be empowered in our faith and just be patient and know this, that whatever the universe, whenever something happens in the universe, its divine restored condition is already known in the mind of God, waiting for its logical and sequential order to unfold. And when you understand that, then you understand that this too shall pass, and that the logical and sequential order is unfolding for the highest and greatest good. Now, stay out of the politics, stay out of the peripheral conversations, stay focused on knowing that the universe is offering us a solution and that we're getting there, and that my consciousness, steeped in faith, is what's going to take me on my journey. Okay, so here's my wrap up. When I do this demo, I don't want you to think about what I'm saying in terms of on an airplane. I want you to put your metaphysical journey together, all right? I want you to put your metaphysical plan together so that the next week or the next couple weeks, we arrive safely at our journey where we remain healthy and happy and sane. It's easy to get crazy at this time. That's not the journey I want to be in. I know that's not the one you want. So, you ready? Your seats are equipped with a metal-to-metal seatbelt. To fasten, insert the metal until you hear it click. Pull on the strap for a tight fit. To unfasten, lift the metal plate, pulling the end out. Your seat bottom cushion floats. Oh, I totally forgot about the seat bottom cushion. The very thing you're sitting on is going to save your butt. Isn't that nice? But your seat bottom cushion floats in the case of a water landing. Simply pull up the cushion, hold up the straps on the reverse side, take it with you as you exit the aircraft. The cabin is pressurized for your comfort. In the unlikely event of cabin depressurization, oxygen mask shall fall right above you. Simply reach up, pull the oxygen mask down, pull over your mouth and nose, and breathe normally. Please continue to do so until advised by a uniformed crew member. Just remember, even though the bag doesn't inflate, oxygen is still flowing. So remember that. Even though the bag doesn't inflate, even though we may not see something, the universe is still working on it. And then make sure you offer assistance to other people after you've secured your own mask. In the seat back pocket, you'll find this and other information along with the location and operation of our emergency exits. Isn't that wonderful? Pointed out for you, they are the forward entry door in which you entered, opposite the forward service door, 2 exits over each wing, 2 exits the rear right, left, and the rear air stair. Make sure your seats and seat back trays are in their full upright and locked position. Be prepared for this journey. Wash your hands. But get ready. Make sure your seat back trays in their full upright locked position. All carry-on baggage is properly stowed underneath the seat in front of you or in the overhead bin. Flight attendants prepare for departure. We are on our way. Thank you very much for joining us.
Because these are unprecedented times, we're doing our offering a little bit differently as well. So there are plenty of ways still to support the center. Even though we're on a temporary hiatus from activities here at the center, the show still goes on. Nothing about life completely ceases. So when it's time for us to get back together in a couple of weeks, if it is a couple of weeks, we still want this magnificent place to be here, right? Of course it's going to be. All that said, even though this is happening, we're still depending on our community to support this center. So there's a number of ways to do that. You can mail in your sacred offering. You could call the office. Julie or some of the other staff will be happy to take your phone call. You can text it in as well. Or we've made it very easy for you to give right here on this platform. You'll see a donation button pop up here, and you can just do it right now and click. And if for those of you that are able to give a little bit more during this time, that's wonderful. And we always accept whatever you are able to give and are committed to giving in love and with joy. That's the type of circulation we want to participate in. It's been a great Sunday together, hasn't it? So now we're going to move into a time of closing prayer. So let's just take a deep breath and wrap this whole wonderful experience up in a beautiful love note to God. A benediction, a closing prayer, is a prayer of gratitude, and I am grateful for us gathering virtually and still feeling the intimacy of community, even though we're many of us in different locations. But let's feel gratitude for that wonderful message of Dr. Joe. This journey that we're on, let's be on it together and know that the living Spirit of God is inspiring us always as we're on this journey, a new adventure, to be creative, to be steeped and buckled into our faith. I'm grateful for the center and all that it offers us. I'm grateful to everyone who participates in this center, our community members, you right now, sitting at home or wherever you are. I'm grateful for the energy that we create together as a healing center on this planet. I'm grateful for all of it. In one word, I call it good, and so it is. Amen. Have a beautiful day. Peace.